All right, so I'm going to be talking about um, the these mushy Republican types, conservative types, these people that are calling for unity. We need to have total unity with everybody on the left wing, and we don't need to have any disagreements and things. We need to find everything in common ground, all this kind of stuff. And I'm also addressing the evangelical Christians and their insane anti-Catholic hatred that I'm seeing on the internet. That's just kind of crazy. And I'm going to talk about the pro-Zionist type crowd on the internet as well. And all these people are in person, of course. All these people are real people, and they talk like this in person. So normal interactions with people, internet interactions, doesn't matter. We're going to address some of this. So I've been hearing people, some people, not a lot of people, but some people say, "Oh, we need to unite with the left wing. We need to be nice. We need to play nice. Everything's okay. Well, if we just play nice, they're all just sort of, manipulated themselves, and if we just give them understanding like Charlie did, and then everything will be just fine." Well, Charlie understood the dangers of the left wing, and he understood what he was dealing with. He understood the danger and the risks, a lot of it. He talked about it a lot. He talked about it, a whole lot, actually, on his podcast several times, especially when we were in 2020 and then afterwards. So, it's the violence has always been a problem on the left wing. It's never a problem on the right wing. There's like one or two people, but most of those people that claim to be that are just kind of crazy, and they either have a personal beef or they've got some crazy mentally deranged problem. They got some sort of mental issue in their head. But statistically speaking, all of the violence is coming from the left wing. We see all the violence coming from the left wing. Even moderate Democrats, moderate liberal types, they say in the most recent polls, if you've been paying attention, in some of the most recent polling, it was something gov website, something like this. I have to look at that again, but the website was talking about that I think it was about 48% of Democrats said that some form and shape of violence can be necessary at times. So, this is pretty mainstream at this point, that either people on the left will engage in violence themselves, or they will promote it, they will incite it, they will laugh about it and say it's a good thing, we need it. And they might not all do it themselves. They might just sit around and cackle as the radicals on their side, or not necessarily the radicals, because they're all radicals. But the ones who have the more gumption, the more gall, the more willingness to partake in violent activities, they'll just kick back in a lawn chair and just watch them do it as they shoot people, as they attack people, as they commit crimes, and they burn down houses, they burn down churches, businesses, entire city blocks, and they'll just kick their feet back and just laugh at it, and they'll just think it's a great thing. Even if they're not participating in it themselves, they will gladly, if you don't go along with their liberal agenda, liberal, quote unquote, right? Then they'll just, dox you, get your address, and, tell Antifa where you live, and tell other left-wing radical crazies and violent people where you live, so they can go do it, and then they can kick back their feet and watch. So they're active participants in it, and they believe in it, even if they don't commit it themselves. And so that's really where we're at right now. That's really where we're at. And so I just want you to, again, understand the brevity, the gravity of the situation of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I want you to understand that this is a big deal. This is a major turning point. So there is no unity with people like that. How can you have unity with somebody that sits there and, in a moment's notice, at the drop of a hat, if they are so brainwashed to think that if, oh my golly, he voted for a Republican, he voted for Donald Trump, he voted for somebody else, So, yeah, you know what? You deserve to have your address doxed on the internet. You deserve to have a knock on your door and, have somebody, unalive you, in front of your children, in front of your family, or, even if you're by yourself. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, this is how they operate. This is who these people are. They believe that this is okay. I mean, these people, understand this, guys. These people are more upset, and I'm sure you've heard this being spoken already, but just so that you're aware, if you haven't fully heard this articulated, these people are more upset about the firing of Jimmy Kimmel than they are about Charlie Kirk being assassinated, being unalived, in cold blood in front of his wife and his children and in front of all of these different people that were supporters and even some that weren't. I mean, this is who these people are. They are way more upset about Jimmy Kimmel losing his job than they are about someone having their life ended at the age of 31 years old because they're conservative. So there is no unity with these people. How can there be unity? There can't be. I mean, these people are literally like, I mean, if we were at war, like, if you didn't do what they wanted, they would just like, hey, like that address, that's that's the place you should, go ahead and bomb next. I mean, like that's who these people are. And they'll just kick back their feet and laugh. I mean, that's who your moderate liberal is. That's what they've become. The average liberal has become so radicalized that how can you try to shake hands and be like, oh, it'll all be okay. It'll all be just fine. Like, really? Really? It's not all going to be okay. It's not all going to be just fine. So no, there can't be unity with people like that. I mean, again, how can there be when they want to commit extreme acts of violence against you, against your family, your church, your community, your town, your city? How can there be peace with people like that? How can there be unity with people like that? There can't be, obviously. Okay, so that's number one here. Okay. Number two are the people that are on the internet that constantly are, and I've seen this way too much. It's all of the people that would consider themselves to be evangelicals, mostly. Some other Protestant sects of Christianity have stated comments like what I'm about to talk about, but it's mostly evangelicals. And again, this is pertaining to, again, Charlie Kirk, where they go around and, as soon as a Roman Catholic sits around and says that, hey, like we heard that, Charlie was praying a rosary, he was attending mass on different days, it was, his wife is Roman Catholic, his wife's family are Roman Catholic, pretty sure. And so, Charlie was looking at that kind of thing. He wasn't a card-carrying member. He wasn't looking to be catechized. He wasn't a confirmed member. And confirmation, again, is the West, where it's in the Western tradition, Christian tradition, it's when sort of like baptism in fire and the Spirit, where you are marked with the cross on your forehead by a priest with oil. So that it's sort of the mark of God, the mark of Christ on you, and you are confirmed then into the church. Charlie was not at that level, and no one is arguing that Charlie was ever at that level. But these evangelical people, they have such hatred for their fellow Christians in this country that are Roman Catholic, that and others, by the way, Orthodox, Roman Catholic, and the others, they have such a crazy, vile hatred. And it's not every evangelical, but there is a certain sect of evangelicals. There's a certain type of evangelical, and you know who I'm talking about when you hear this message. Those of you that are listening, you know who I'm talking about when I say this, because you've probably run across these people on the internet or in person. These people have such an anti-apostolic tradition, apostolic church. They are so opposed to those churches and the apostolic tradition and apostolic churches They are so full of hate towards them, hate, that they are willing to say and do anything to label you as a crazy person, an idolater. They'll go so far as to say that Catholics aren't even Christians. And then they sit here and they act like that Charlie was one of them. Charlie Kirk didn't like the Catholics. Charlie Kirk thought Catholics were disgusting, gross, terrible people. They were idolaters. They're dirty people. They're not Christians, and they don't deserve to be put on par with the evangelical crowd of true Christians and true Christianity. And that's just total, complete BS, because Charlie Kirk's best friend, Jack Posobiec, is a hardcore traditional Catholic, and he comes from a line of traditional Catholics that are Polish. Okay, he's from Philadelphia. His family's Polish. You know, his wife is Orthodox. Jack Posobiec's wife is Orthodox. So it's like, I don't even, I mean, how do these people even operate? You know, there were lots of people around Charlie Kirk that he liked and he loved a lot that were Roman Catholics, and he considered them to be Christians. But yet when Catholics come and say, wow, we heard that Charlie was, you know, praying the rosary, and we heard that Charlie was attending a church, which, by the way, was confirmed by multiple sources, and we have photographs of Charlie Kirk inside of a Catholic church. So, again, for all these people that want to say that this isn't real, it is. Okay, and again, private conversations and text messages and people saying, yeah, like he was talking about different things. Tucker Carlson just had he did a nighttime show. I believe it was yesterday. And he talked about that Charlie was looking into orthodoxy. He was looking into Orthodox Christianity. He was asking questions. He was very intrigued by it. He was looking at it a lot. And not to say that he was going to jump ship on evangelicalism per se, but again, the thing is that most people that are of these apostolic churches, the Orthodox and the Catholics, they're saying, you know, like, hey, listen, like, we don't know what his life would have led to. We don't know what he would have done with his life had he been allowed to live. We don't know what changes he would have had in his future. He was still young. He was 31 years old. And so he had plenty of time to change his mind and think about things and look at the world and be like, yeah, you know, like, maybe I will change. Maybe I will think about things differently. But maybe he wouldn't have. I don't know. But irregardless, everybody that is a Orthodox and a Roman Catholic that I have seen talk and have conversation about this kind of stuff, they have all said, well, this kind of stuff, what am I saying? The assassination of Charlie Kirk. They all say, almost unanimously, that I've heard, except for a couple of people, you know, that really I don't think should be taken seriously. But most of the serious people that are, you know, engaging in like genuine and good, serious conversation, they're all saying that Charlie Kirk is a Christian martyr. So, you know, I mean, I don't get where all of this hatred from evangelicals against Roman Catholics and Orthodox come from. This is insane. So just to be clear, Charlie Kirk was looking at Roman Catholicism and different things that they believed and thought. He agreed with a couple of things and disagreed with a couple of things, and he was looking very interestingly. He was taking an interest in Orthodox Christianity as well, which he initially knew nothing about. And so, and Tucker revealed that. He was like, yeah, like in private, like he was really interested in Orthodox Christianity, but he still considered himself an evangelical and a Protestant. But he was interested. You know, he was looking at it. He was thinking about it. And Charlie Kirk never looked at these people and said, you're a dirty idolater. You're not Christian. Get away from me. You have no place around me. That was not what Charlie Kirk did. But yet these people on the internet claim, oh, Charlie Kirk would have sided with me. He thinks Catholics are dirty, weird, crazy people. They're not Christians. We need to make sure that we divide ourselves between those that are the idolaters and those that are the true Christians. It's just ridiculous. You know, Charlie never had that perspective. He never voiced that. He never said that. And in private, he never voiced that and said that. And as a matter of fact, again, it's the exact opposite of that. It's a love and an interest in other Christians of other denominations other than his own, which was, again, more of an independent a non-denominational evangelical. And then we have the evangelicals that are, and there's others as well. It's not just evangelicals. There's others that are the pro-Zionist crowd. And again, there are some of, well, they that shall not be named is what I refer to them as, because you can't really name them because, well, their wrath and fury will fall upon you and everyone you know, if you do. So for again, not to insult your intelligence, but because I can't say that on YouTube or anywhere else really, I will just refer to them as they that shall not be named. And from the looks of things, you can probably guess to whom I am referring. Those people, as well as the non-denominational evangelical types, mostly it's the non-denominational evangelical types, they are all drawing a line and saying, no, Charlie Kirk was an adamant supporter of the nation state of Israel, and that he was an adamant supporter of all of those who are a member of, well, they that shall not be named. He really, really loved all of that. He was really into it, and he never backed away. He never wavered. He never anything. And anybody that questions that is being disingenuous to the memory of Charlie Kirk, and therefore you are a dirty, disgusting piece of crap. Well, I have news for all of you. Well, actually, this isn't news because this is very well known now. We have multiple mainstream conservative type people that have said, and well, I shouldn't say mainstream. That's not the word I'm looking for. It'd be more. What's the word I'm looking for? It'd be more like well, more noticeable characters on the conservative side of the aisle. We'll put it that way. More notable voices, and some that many consider to be very credible, and some, depending upon your loyalty to the country in the Middle East that shall not be named unless I'm referring to it in some other way that YouTube might not fully catch on. Unless it's like, unless it's like that, I mean, they're more noticeable. So anyways, people like Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens. I mean, you can even throw in somebody like a Mike Cernovich, even though I don't think he had personal contacts, though. I mean, he knew other people that did, and he has attested to this. There's Marjorie Taylor Greene. There's Matt Gaetz. There's Roger Stone. I mean, these are like prominent people that have credibility. And, and they have said the same thing, that Charlie was questioning Bibi, the prime minister of the country in the Middle East that shall not be named. He was very, very, very critical of them at times, sometimes slightly, sometimes more, sometimes less. And he was having changing views. And if you even bring that up, these people are like, oh, you're trying to make Charlie Kirk out to be one of these, like, anti-Zionist kooks or whatever. And that's just not true. Because Charlie Kirk was not a hater against the country in the Middle East that shall not be named. And he was not a hater against they that shall not be named. He was not a hater of any of those people from any of those places. The only thing he was trying to do was just try to have an America First mindset and try to voice the concerns of the young people that he represented. And that's all he was doing. That's all he was doing. And he was trying to be consistent. He was seeing the craziness that was going on with Gaza. And, in public, he may not have talked a whole awful lot about it. But in private, it seems as though he kind of was to some extent. And he was very, very much weary about that. And he also made mention of this. He also made mention of it. He called it ethnic cleansing, actually. This was on the Patrick Bet-David podcast when he was on there, when these initial invasion into the country in the Middle East that shall not be named happened by people in the Gaza Strip. Funny, I can mention the Gaza Strip, but I can't mention a certain country in the Middle East that shall not be named, or a certain group of people that shall not be named, they that shall not be named. Quite interesting how that works. But anyways, Just, yeah. And even Charlie, he said himself on Megyn Kelly's show, he's like, I mean, I cannot be a critic of the country in the Middle East that shall not be named. I can't be a critic of that country at all. I can't do that at all. People in that country can be more critical of that country than I can. And I live in America. It's that bad. So the people that are out here claiming that, no, Charlie, he loved us. He loved everything that we do, everything that we stand for. No, he didn't. And that's just not true. And so people are having a fight on the internet about this. And they ought to, because these people that are the Zionist crowd, they are the ones that went after Charlie Kirk and wanted to tank him and tank TPUSA and put it into the dirt. 5 minutes before he was taken from this world, before his young life was ended, these people were out here calling for TPUSA to be defunded. There was a multimillionaire that was a Zionist that was saying that that TPUSA, he wants his name taken off of stuff. He's withdrawing, I think it was $2 million. He wasn't going to donate anymore or something. I mean, these people were actively on a social media campaign to cancel Charlie Kirk and to throw him under the bus and run over him and then back over him again. And then now all of a sudden that they find an opportunity to get their message in now that Charlie Kirk is gone. Oh, now they'll say Charlie Kirk loved everything to do with them all the time. It didn't matter what they said and did, that he was just totally on board with everything that Bibi Netanyahu, the prime minister of the country in the Middle East that shall not be named, he was a big supporter of him because Bibi said so. So yeah, let's all do this. Let's put on this charade. He's a totally pro-Zionist type figure, and he doesn't hate anybody like that, but he had disagreements. And he was having an issue with what was going on, and he was having major issues with the current prime minister of this country that you know what I'm talking about, which country I'm talking about. He was having major issues with that, with his whole thing. And so, yeah, people like Candace Owens and others, again, including Mike Cernovich, and there are others on the internet that are saying stuff like this. And of course, conversation like this does go on in real life as well. They're totally justified in this because they're trying to maintain the character of their friend. Oh, and then the other thing, just to mention, Candace, there was this thing like Eric Bolling. I actually thought for a second that guy was actually a nice guy and he was credible. Just a total fraud and a total liar. Because his whole, Newsmax is just basically like a Zionist propaganda machine at this point. If you ever listen to or read Max Blumenthal's reporting on this kind of stuff, it's really bad. And he goes on the Patrick Bet-David podcast and literally says that Candace Owens has never, she hasn't had contact with anybody at TPUSA since 2016. That's literally not true. She was speaking at a Turning Point event last year. Last summer. So I don't even know where to begin with the level of lies that the Zionist crowd is coming at, people like Candace Owens and Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson with, who were friends with Charlie and who understood what was going on in the background. The level of lying is just off the charts. Just totally off the charts. The level of lying these people do on a daily basis. Literally 5 minutes ago, these people were saying, cancel Charlie Kirk, get rid of him. He's an anti-Zionist. He hates they that shall not be named. He's an anti-Semite. Get rid of him. Destroy TPUSA. And now they're coming out because he's gone. Now they see an opportunity to seize it for themselves, and so they're trying to grab it. And you have people like Candace Owens who are being really defensive and going, wait. This was an organization that my dear friend built, and I don't want you coming in and wrecking it and tarnishing his name because he didn't want to be affiliated with craziness that, a lot of pro-Zionist crowds are into now. He was rethinking a lot of relationships and a lot of different things, and they're just trying to accurately represent where he was at before he was unalived. So I mention all these groups. I mentioned these three: the squishy Republicans and conservatives, the spineless Republicans and conservatives. I mention the evangelicals and their weird anti-Catholic hatred, which, by the way, just as another side note here to mention with that particular crowd was actually cheering on the pro-Zionist evangelical types. These people were actually cheering on when the country in the Middle East that shall not be named was bombing churches and shooting at them with tanks and mortar rounds. And the Patriarch of Jerusalem, the Orthodox Patriarch of Jerusalem, and then the Latin Patriarchate of Jerusalem, both went to their respective churches together, and they were both grieving their dead. And they both did funerals for them and everything. And it was a moment of East and West unity that was really beautiful, that I loved to see. And but anyways, there were evangelical Zionist types on the internet that were saying that it was a good thing what that country in the Middle East was doing, and that those churches needed to be bombed, those churches needed to be eradicated from that land because they're idolaters. And somebody like a Jack Posobiec, who was friends with Charlie Kirk, an evangelical, he was like, well, wait a minute, like there's evangelicals that believe that I am not even Christian, and that nobody that is a traditional apostolic Christian that goes to an apostolic church, none of them are Christians at all in any way. Like, they're not Christian, like, period. And people on the internet had to sit there and tell Jack Posobiec, like, yeah, you know, like, these people don't actually think that you're Christian. They actually believe that you are a pagan and that you are worshiping devils and that you need to be eradicated. Like, they literally believe this. And he was just totally shocked, because he was like, apparently he has had nothing but good interactions with evangelicals, and he was totally shocked that there's a crowd of these people that do genuinely believe that Catholics are literally worse than stepping on a pile of dog crap. Like dog crap on the bottom of your shoe. I mean, that's the way they believe it. So, yeah. So anyways, so I'm addressing these different groups that believe these kinds of things and think this kind of way, because we as fellow Americans and also as fellow Christians, okay, we need to stand together in this moment, and we need to make sure that we have each other's backs. And as I said in my first video, we need to put aside apologetics arguments for now. And I know that there's Twitter accounts that do apologetics arguments and things like this, and that's fine. They can do some, that's okay. But it can't lead to this crazy, hatred-filled, divisive type language right now, because we really don't need it. Okay, you can have some critiques, and you can talk about things and whatever, but like there's been a lot of hatred and a lot of anger and a lot of animosity thrown around in the Christian apologetics world, and that is not what we need right now at all. Again, if your thing is apologetics and you want to kind of talk about that kind of stuff because it interests you and it's kind of the basis of, you know, your following and all of that on the internet for social media, I mean, like, okay, that's fine. That's okay. But you can't go off and start saying, like, oh yeah, like, the guy that's Baptist down the street, oh yeah, I hate him. He's not a Christian. Like, well, that's just not true. The qualifications for Christian, for you to be considered Christian, that all of the apostolic churches would say is true. And by the way, the Baptist, if they do that to a Roman Catholic or an evangelical, again, all sides need to stop this crap. All the denominations, even some of the non-denominational, we need to stop this crap, okay? Because the traditional way that you understand someone to be Christian is that if they have a Trinitarian baptism, they agree with the Nicene Creed, and they understand and have some form of the sacraments. And at that point, you can say, well, yeah, they're Christians. Now, they are sort of in varying and different levels of heterodox, beliefs in comparison to an apostolic tradition, an apostolic church. It's outside of those, there's other of these Protestant churches that have varying levels of heterodox beliefs, but they are not unchristian. It's just that other of the apostolic churches believe that they have more of a fullness of what Christianity is supposed to be. So it's not as though you're not Christian at all. It's just that, we they claim to have the fullness of the faith, as it's called. So, we need to stand together as fellow Christians, because these communist revolutionary types, the Antifas, the so-called queer Tifas, queer Antifa, all these different leftist militant groups and organizations, and, just even like independent people that just mobilize and go crazy, these like crazy communist type people, the crazy revolutionist type people. We need to get together and protect ourselves, because I don't want the local Baptist church or the Catholic church around me to get burned to the ground. You know what I'm saying? I don't want anybody's churches to get burned to the ground. I love that people are going back to church. I love that people are going and turning to Christ. I love this. I love this. In a time of crisis, you turn to God. You turn to Jesus Christ. That is the answer. Yes. It's one of the answers. It's one of the biggest answers when you're talking about ourselves as a people, is turning to Christ. I absolutely love that, and that's needed 100%. But then when you turn and you look at somebody that's a Roman Catholic, or, I mean, this doesn't really happen that much, but there are some that are Roman Catholics that turn to the others and say that you're not Christian. If all you guys are saying that you're not Christian and you deserve to get burned, I mean, I'm sorry, you don't understand the gravity of the situation we're in right now, because they're coming after us all. And if you're a serious person, you'll get your head out of your own rear end and understand that, like, listen, okay, I have a lot of disagreements with you, but we're all still Christians, okay? We really are. And as much as we have disagreements, we are still Christians, and we need to focus on that, and we need to unite around that and defend each other, okay? And so if you don't get that, if you don't understand that, then you don't understand where we're at right now. Same goes with the, again, mushy Republican types. The whole, we need to have unity. Everything should be just fine. We just need to have more conversation, you see. We just need to have more people with microphones, as though that's going to solve anything right now. What we need is more security, and we need more of a willingness to take self-defense measures for the protection of ourselves, okay? I think Steven Crowder has pretty well articulated this. He's articulated this really well. You should go watch some of his current videos on the topic that he's released. But I really want you all to understand, Oh, and the pro-Zionist crowd. Pardon me. The pro-Zionist crowd too. You're not America first if you don't support the country in the Middle East that can't be named, because I'm speaking a little bit negatively towards it, I suppose. So YouTube doesn't like that. So that's what we're going to have to refer to them as. I mean, if your allegiance to your fellow Christians is only contingent upon the fellow Christian that you want to ally with, if they love a country in the Middle East, like if that's what your help and your aid to someone else is based on, I mean, I'm sorry. Like, you are not a serious person, and you obviously don't know what's going on right now. So for all three of these groups, the mushy Republicans, the pro-Zionist crowd, and the crazy evangelicals that want to say that everybody else that isn't them is just a piece of dirt and filth, especially if you're an apostolic Christian, or you're a part of an apostolic church. You're dirt, you're pagan dirt, you're worse than dirt, you're dog crap. These kind of people collectively are the kind of people that do not understand what's going on. You cannot rely on these people for anything. Times are going to get really serious here. They fired the first shot. The left has fired the first shot here, okay? They believe in political violence. They believe in this kind of stuff. It's already known. It's already seen. We see this happening all the time now. People are out saying this stuff. Left-wing people are saying this stuff. They celebrate Charlie Kirk being assassinated. And so if you don't understand the brevity and the gravity of this situation, I don't know how to help you at this point. I mean, someone was literally assassinated in front of your face in the most gruesome way by a Well, from what we know currently right now, and what is the absolute most likely case, again, is either a lone crazed leftist or a organized group of leftists, which I'm kind of leaning more towards it was an organized group. But at any rate, it was a left-wing attack against conservatives, against one of the single most prominent conservative voices in the country, and one of the most effective. If you're one of these people that I talked about that just don't understand this stuff, I'm giving you what's called, I call it the Sam Hyde rule right now. That's what I'm going to call it. I'm going to give you 2 weeks, because that's what he said in his video. If you haven't watched Sam Hyde's video, his most recent video on the Sam Hyde YouTube channel, Sam Hyde, go watch it. I might even leave a link to it in the description, maybe. It's a really, really good video, and it articulates things really well. Because he's a good speaker, I think. Even though he's a comedian, he has an ability to articulate ideas really well. It's kind of like Steven Crowder. He's a comedian type, but he can really articulate things very well. He said, the course of this nation will be determined in the next 2 weeks. And he said this several days ago. He said, the next 2 weeks will determine the course of this nation and the history of the world. And I mean, that's the gravity of what just happened with Charlie Kirk, with his assassination. And so if these people, mushy Republicans, spineless Republicans and conservatives, the pro-Zionist crowd, the you're either an evangelical or you're a piece of dirt crowd. Charlie Kirk didn't believe that, by the way. Again. If you don't understand the gravity of this situation, and if your loyalty lies with anything else other than this country, preserving this country, and preserving Christianity, particularly, all right, then I don't know what to tell you. I'm giving you, other than I'm giving you 2 weeks to pull your head out of your freaking rear end and to understand what's happening. After 2 weeks, after the 2-week time has passed from me posting this, I will not respond to and I will not take seriously anybody from these groups. Not going to do it. Because if your allegiance is to, oh, well, I've got to have peace all the time, we can't be at all defensive and take a defensive posture in any way. Or if you're of the position of, well, you have to support a country in the Middle East, or else you're not a Christian and you're not an American somehow, and therefore you're a piece of dirt. And if you're the crowd of, oh, well, you know, if you're a apostolic Christian, if you're a part of an apostolic church, you're a piece of dirt. If your allegiance is to those kind of ideas, if you are so aligned with that kind of thought that you can't see what's going on and look around you and go, yeah, you know what? I'm going to put my differences aside. I'm going to put all that stuff aside, and I'm going to take you by the arm, brother, and we're Christians, and we're going to push back against this stuff. If you can't do that now, I mean, holy crap. You don't understand what's going on. So I'm going to give you 2 weeks. 2 weeks, folks. 2 weeks, that's it. And if you can't understand at the end of 2 weeks what's going on, what this means for the country, what this means, what Charlie Kirk's assassination means for this country and for the history of Western civilization, and if you can't join arms with people who are giving you an olive branch, like Matt Walsh on the internet has done a lot, and, you know, on his podcast in person, giving an olive branch to people and saying, hey, listen, you know, like, it's okay. There's another guy that's a Baptist pastor who has been doing this, who is telling people, listen, you know, Catholics are not your enemy. Catholics are your friends. Catholics are the ones that are fighting for the same things that we all are, and they're Christians. And as much as you want to sit there and say that they're not, that's not true. He even said a couple of times he kind of hates being a Baptist sometimes because of the way people act in Baptist circles. I mean, after what's happened with Charlie Kirk, after his assassination, if you can't understand what's going on, I mean, I'm going to give you a little bit of grace. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Stop your BS. Stop your craziness. Stop your hatred. Stop your insanity. And get with the program. And if you can't get with the program in 2 weeks, we're all going to just leave you behind. Mushy again, mushy Republicans, mushy conservatives that say that, we can't have self-defense. We need to just go out with microphones and just, talk to people, on the street that are trying to beat us in the head with batons, because that'll work. Okay, you're just spineless, and you're quizzling, and you're stupid. And you just don't understand what's happening, that someone is coming at you with a baton to hit you in the head. The pro-Zionist crowd, I have to love the nation of the Middle East, and if you don't, then you're a piece of crap. And the evangelical crowd, if you're not with me in my particular non-denominational train of thought, then you're a piece of crap. 2 weeks to get over that. That's it. After that, I'm not acknowledging you, and I'm going to encourage everybody else that I know in person and online to not engage with you anymore. You're not a serious person. You're not serious about, saving this country. You're not serious about preserving Christianity in this country. I mean, I mentioned in my last video that I'm no longer Protestant, but I don't want any of my Protestant friends or Protestant people in my community to suffer. I want to help them because they're my fellow Christians. I mean that's the way, and I hope that they have the same feeling with me. And I talked with a Baptist pastor not long ago, and he expressed that to me. And this was before the Charlie Kirk assassination. So, I mean, and he was very polite. He was very nice. So, 2 weeks, folks. You got to get your head out of your rear end. You got to know what's going on, or nobody is going to pay attention to you, and they shouldn't. And I'm going to encourage everybody not to. All right? I'm angry. I'm a little upset because I keep seeing this crap, and I've had enough. So this is my statement on it. 2 weeks, again. That's my call. 2 weeks. You got to put a stop to this nonsense. You got to wake up. You got to smell the roses. You got to understand what's going on. If you can't, then we can't trust you. If something goes on, we can't trust you. If something actually goes down, we can't trust you. If somebody needs help, we can't trust you. Because, that's a dirty Catholic. He deserves to get beat in the head. Like, that's what's one of those weird, crazy Baptists. He deserves to get hit in the head. Like, he's he doesn't love Israel. Oh, did I say it? So it's late enough in the video. I think I'm okay. He doesn't love Israel with all his heart and all his soul and all his might and all of his strength. So therefore, he deserves to get hit in the head. He deserves to have bad things happen to him and his family. And then the mushy Republicans, well, I mean, if you're gonna say incendiary words like, that offends the left, and you're not trying to find every way to make them not get angry and not offend them in some way, and just to try to make total peace with these crazy villainous criminals, and just let them come up and beat you and hit you and do things to you. We can't trust you. We can't rely on you for anything. We can't do anything. If push comes to shove and the crap hits the fan to some extent, even if it's a little bit or a lot, we can't trust you for anything. So get out. If that's your perspective, then leave us all alone. You will fail us, and you will be a liability in the online sphere and in person. You'll be a liability. You're not going to be worth it to keep around because you're going to be endangering others around you because people aren't going to be able to trust you with anything. So that's my statement on this. Thank you very much for listening and for watching. If you did like it, if you would, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, and I will talk to you again in the next video. Oh, and I also have my X account. I'll link that in the description. So thank you very much.